Hi everyone, welcome back. In this video, we are going to see about inter-thread communications. Please recall what we covered about threads, how to create multiple threads, and even we have seen how to create, how to deal with these threads, how to synchronize them. Today, we are going to see how they are going to communicate each other. And as discussed earlier, multi-threading replaces event loop programming. How, which is going to eliminate, which is going to replace by dividing your task into discrete logical units. Threads can also provide a secondary benefit, which can do away with polling. I hope you understand what is polling. Polling is usually implemented by a loop that is used to check some condition repeatedly, which will be keep on checking certain kind of conditions. If it is true, the appropriate action is taken. So meanwhile, what happens? The entire CPU time will get wasted. So what is our ultimate goal? Why we have to go for this different kind of thread to the to see that we make use of the CPU time at the maximum. So if you take this polling to make it more clear way, let us see a real life example where one thread is producing some data and another one is consuming it. We call it as the producer and the consumer problem. To make the problem more interesting, suppose that the producer has to wait until the consumer is finished before it generates more data. The producer cannot keep on producing. It has to also see that the consumer has consumed it or it has finished it. So in a polling, what happens? So this is so at the same time, the when the consumer is waiting for the producer to produce something, the consumer is going to waste many CPU cycles. Once the producer has finished, it would start polling, wasting more CPU cycles, waiting for the consumer to finish. So both the ways we are going to lose the time. So to avoid this, so this is known as polling. To avoid this, Java includes an elegant inter-process communication mechanism. How this is done? This is using three beautiful methods called wait, notify, and notify all. So as the statement says, the wait tells the calling thread to give up the monitor. I repeat, what is a monitor? Monitor is something like key. Whoever is having, whoever owns the monitor, they can access the methods. So wait tells the calling thread to give up the monitor and go to sleep until some other thread enters the same monitor and calls notify. So think that you have got two methods. When I say methods, I mean the threads. You have got two threads, take it as A and B, and inside A you write wait. So now what happens? Your thread A is going to wait until it is notified by somebody else. So which is going to wait. So notify wakes up the thread, that is called wait. So I repeat, you have two threads, take it as A, and second one is B. Inside A you write it as wait. So now what happens? Wait is going to wait and think that now B comes to picture. So once B has completed its execution, B is going to notify A saying that now you can make use of the monitor. So this is nothing but the notify. So I repeat, notify wakes up a thread that is called wait on the same object. So this should be done with the same object. Notify all, as the name says, which wakes up all the threads, that is called wait. This is one short, many words. So everything is final. This is the syntax for this. So let us see how this we can convert into program. And we have a program in the syllabus which is a producer and consumer problem, and you can see the program which is incorrectly implemented. If you have not made the use of wait, notify and notify all, let us see what happens in the producer and consumer problem. So this is the program. So please take little care. So we have a class called Q. Your class Q starts here and ends here. So look at the class Q. Inside this we have an integer variable n, and we have synchronized in get. Look at this. What is the get method? Get method is say synchronized, but still, even though this is synchronized, I'll tell you what is the difference this is going to make, and what is the drawback still even after using the synchronized method. And what it does is, which is going to print the got it and end, and we have another method called put, which takes a single parameter and which is going to assign n to this is nothing but I'm talking about this dot n is nothing but this n, and this n is nothing but the argument, and which is going to put and what is there in a n value. So this is about my first class. The first class is about a class called q, which have two methods. One is get method and the second one is my put. So I hope you understood this. Please have a glance and let us see what it does. So we have another class called producer, so which implements runnable interface. So I have created an object of the class called Q. This is my previous class, and this is producer QP. This is the constructor for the producer, which takes the previous class object as parameter. And we have this dot Q. I'm talking about this Q. What is there in this Q? So we have two Qs. So don't get confused. So what is the parameter Q is your Q. This dot Q is nothing but your class object, and this is a place we create the object thread. This we are talking about the current object, and this is the thread name dot start. And normally start what it does, which is going to call the run method. So please remember, nowhere you can find we call the run method directly. So please remember that when you see the start method in your program, you see that your start is internally called the run methods. Let us see what the run does. A run, inside the run we have I is equal to 0 while true q dot put I plus plus. So where is this put method? This is inside my first class. This is put. So let us see the next one. See, I have another class called the consumer. Consumer is same as my producer, which even this also implement an interface called enable. And Q is my object of class Q. This is consumer Q. So this is my constructor for this class. This dot Q. So this Q is nothing but my class object, and this Q is nothing but this. So we have don't get confused, the current object, and I'm creating another thread called consumer t dot start. T dot starts. What happens? Start calls the run method. Will come to this, and what it does, if it is true, q dot get. What is q? Q is my object for the previous class, so which is going to call the method get. So I'm talking about this get method, this get method. Fine. Yeah. So now let us see. So I have another class called PC. So inside this I have created two objects, q, this is for my first, and I'm creating an object of the producer. I'm creating an object for the consumer. I have created three objects. Now what happens? So when I do this, so I'll be getting output like this: put one, got one, got one, got one, got one. So some random outputs I'm getting. So what happens? What was the expected output? Put one. As soon as the producer produce one, that has to be consumed by the consumer. Then the producer has to produce, then consume, production, consumption. This has to take place. So what happens? Even though the methods put and get are synchronized, nothing stops the producer from overrunning the consumer, nor will anything stop the consumer from consuming the same Q value twice. Nothing is going to stop him to consume the same values. So we are getting this irregular outputs. So I hope you understood this. The next video, let us see how we can